Hey, what's up, everybody? It is tea time with Liz. Sorry about that. But it is Monday. We're here and we are live. I'm super excited because tonight it's just me. I am spilling the tea tonight. So I'm super excited to finally get to share one of my life stories with you all as we continue to journey on this season of telling your story. If you are still out there and would love to tell your story, let me know by emailing me, or you can go ahead and also send a quick direct message on our social media platforms as well. But either way, contact us and let us know that you would like to share your story here on Tea Time. We have a couple more weeks left in this first season before we take another break, and then we will get into our last part of the season, which will start back up in September. So we'll take a break after July and then we will be back in September. So make sure you stay tuned for those announcements as well. If you have not yet, like and subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. You can definitely catch up on all your tea, all 3 seasons, and 4 that we are currently in, and definitely be able to hit up those episodes that speak to you. We've had some amazing, amazing guests. We've had some great game nights. We definitely need to do one of those again. So maybe we'll do that soon. But yeah, we definitely have a good time here on Tea Time with Liz. All right. So I think that is all of the announcements. So let's get into this tea tonight. All right. So tonight, like I said, I am going to tell my story. This is something I actually wanted to share for a while. And I wanted to do it in the month of Autism Awareness Month, which was April, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do so. But we're here tonight and we are going to, like I said, share that story. So if you are familiar with autism spectrum disorder, it is definitely something that is becoming more aware today. Some of the facts that I've seen, it says that out of 68 children have autism, or are on the spectrum. It is definitely more found in boys than it is girls. And I have a son, so that is something we came aware of, and I'll get into that. But it is a big spectrum. I could say that, there are some high functioning children, young adults, teenagers, wherever they lie in their life, and then there are some who are low functioning. Some talk, some don't talk. Some have more anxiety and phobias, more than others. It just all depends on the child, or when they discover. A lot of the times to discover autism, it is certain behaviors that are different, whether it's behind or just kind of out of the norm. Those are definitely some things that you want to be aware of when you are wondering if your child has autism. So let me go ahead and start with my journey. Well, somewhat my journey. I am also a co-parent, but my son at the time lived with me. We found out he had autism at the age of 6. So it's still early enough, but kind of late, to be honest. There was really nothing wrong with him, as a baby, even as a toddler. He went to early child development, and his teacher just said that, he's just, not always attentive, so there really wasn't any high concern in his earlier age. So it wasn't until kindergarten that I realized that there was something different about my son. It was actually an incident he had there at school. He was playing on the playground and someone pushed him and he cut the back of his head open. And usually, if a child, if that happens, they're screaming, they're crying, there's some type of reaction to the trauma, right? Unfortunately, that was not my son's case. First of all, there was no adult that saw it at the time, and we already raised our concerns with the school on that. But nevertheless, his teacher had emailed me because later that day he fell asleep in class, and she's like, did he sleep well last night? Do you think everything's okay? I said, yeah, he's been fine. Can you check to make sure he's not running a fever, make sure he's not sick? And then that's when she discovered the cut on the back of his head. So, of course, as any mom, I freak out. I rush out of work. I go to grab him from school, because I don't know how long he's had this open wound, to the point now he's sleeping, and so I take him to the first medical facility I possibly can, and which was like an urgent care. They took us back and gave him stitches, which was a nightmare as well. My son hated doctors, hates shots, hates it all, but we hung in there with two other nurses as well. To get us through. So after that incident, I just thought it was very odd that my son, like I said, went through the whole day, did not complain about any pain or hurt or said anything to anyone. Grace and peace, blessings to you, Pastor Birch. Yeah, I was just, it was just very odd. So I asked his doctor about it. Then that's where this journey began. We went to a behavioral doctor. And I'm not going to say the ride was easy. It started off very frustrating and very difficult because, once again, they couldn't diagnose or say anything to this concern. The doctor, even as he was referring us to the behavioral doctor, was like, I really don't know. Had I ever heard of autism before this? Definitely not. But I was able to be open and learn. I think any parent, especially moms out there, shout out to all the moms. I think that you just want the best for your kid. You want to know what it is. And me as a mom, I've always been like, okay, what do we got to do to fix it? Let's fix this. Figure it out and let's fix it, right? But this was just one journey that I had to learn to be patient. I had to learn to trust God. I had to learn to be honest, be real, and learn to accept some things. So we go to the behavioral doctor. They decide they wanted to do some testing, and decided to take him to the neurologist. He went to a couple other doctors, but most of all, he started occupational therapy and speech therapy. Now, my son could definitely speak. He just spoke like 3-word sentences in kindergarten, and that's not obviously normal. And so right away, they just labeled him cognitive disability. And I was like, what the heck is that? Like, that's just being lazy. Like, because I looked it up. Of course, I'm nosy. I'm a detective. Undercover. So I looked it up and I was like, it doesn't really define anything. Once again, I had the mindset of we need to figure out what it is so we can fix it. So as we are going through occupational therapy now, this is at the beginning stages, and he had to go to 3 times a week. So 2 days of the week he was in um, occupational therapy, and the other day of the week he was going to speech. Occupational therapy was never a struggle for us. It's more fun for the kids. It's a place to play, relax, but surprisingly, it is really helping them in their condition, because a lot of kids who have autism probably also develop sensory disorder. I had no clue what sensory disorder was either until someone explained it to me. So we all have five senses. There we go. And so we eat, or we taste, smell, see, and hear. So for them, their senses is out of whack. It's not connecting well. They're jumbled, and the only way to kind of ease that, or make them straight, or make them talk to the right places, is to do this occupational therapy, to move a muscle, to get those nerves going. So like I said, that was enlightening to me, and but through time, I'm so glad I sacrificed the time to take my son to occupational therapy, because it has changed his life. You wouldn't think so, but it has definitely given him stability to be able to tolerate and to do certain things in society. And I'll get into that a little bit more as we talk. I definitely, if you have a child, if you just learn that your child has autism, definitely recommend staying consistent with your occupational therapy. Um, like I said, it may look like they're just sitting there playing, but I'm telling you, it is actually working for your good. Let's see, we started his occupational therapy journey at the age of 6, like I said, in kindergarten. And we went for almost 4 or 5 years to occupational therapy before he was discharged. And I almost cried tears of joy. Not only to say that, we're done, but just to see the progress my son made through those 4 years was just, like I said, mind blowing. So, speech therapy was a little bit more of a struggle, but he hung in there. I remember his second, I think it was his second or first time going to speech therapy, and he um, broke down. He broke down. He said, "I can't do this." And I almost lost it myself. But I was raised, we don't quit, and I was not going to allow him to quit. And I just began to speak words of life. I said, "No, you can do this. It's okay. Take a deep breath. Hang in there." And I knew it was going to be a struggle for him, because it is frustrating, even on their end, because they don't know. They live in their own world. They're just trying to live life and want people to actually understand them more or less than as we are trying to understand them as well. So, he was very frustrated too, but he managed through, and he does amazing. And I think I've shared this a lot of times here on Tea Time, is that there was points in times where when I would pick up my son from either school or daycare, he couldn't tell me anything. He couldn't tell me what he did today, or who he talked to, or what happened. And once again, that also scared me, because what if something were to happen? What if someone were to touch him or do something to him, and he couldn't vocalize those words, danger, or whatever the case may be. So I am at a point now to where my son now is asking me, hey mom, how's it going? What'd you do today? Just having full-blown conversations. So, like I said, as hard as the road may seem or be, with your child and autism, in their journey, through therapies, I promise you it is worth it, and to stick to it. And also, they give you homework, they give you things to do at home, and definitely take the time to do it. Take the time to sit with your child, and talk and interact. Sit with your child and do some activities. He also went to an eye therapy, um, because, like I said, once again, that was one of the senses he had to get kind of figured out. And so, that too was very interesting, to understand and to discover. He did wear glasses for a little bit, not for prescription wise, but they had prisms in them, to kind of bring things into focus a little bit for him. So, because he would sometimes like close his eye and like tilt his head just to like kind of see things. So, yeah, that was just one thing that we had to work on as well. But the biggest thing that helped me, as we kept going through all these therapies and visiting the behavioral doctor, and I think I went several months without an answer of him being autistic. I did my own research. Like I said, I'm a whole detective out here. So I did my own research and began to see that he had quite a bit of the symptoms that autism carried, and that he was probably on the lower spectrum because he never really had a lot of behaviors. Um, his behavioral issues were taking him to environments that he was not prepared for. There would be times, especially as I was a youth leader and ministering, I would take him with me to certain places, and he would refuse to go. He would refuse to um, walk into the church, or even shopping. Sometimes he would refuse to go to the mall or Walmart or whatever the case may be, and I could never understand why. Like, I just thought he was just being a difficult little boy, like they're just stubborn, right? But no, he was full of anxiety. He was dealing with the noise, the trauma, of just being in such a high functioning social environment. And it wasn't until I started to read a book, I believe it's called What Your Child Wants You to Know Who Has Autism, I think is what it's called, but I'll post it later. But that book changed my whole entire life. It began to help me to understand, uh, as they work through their sensory disorder, in occupational therapy. It helped me to understand why, when I would fight him to put on jeans or to look nice in nice clothing, why he would fight me and have a mental breakdown. Um, excuse me, was because he could not handle the material. Jean material is not his friend. He did not like flannels. He did not like button up. He did not like cotton in any shape or form. He felt comfortable in athletic gear. He liked the jersey material. He liked, all of that, like I said, athletic gear. And so I was like, geez, we can't wear athletic gear everywhere. I don't want people to think I can't afford to buy you clothes. But that, was just, like I said, one of his sensory issues. And the book put it in such a great perspective. It said your child has issues with certain materials. The reasoning are, this is how they feel when you put a material that they don't like on, is like little needles poking at your skin as you have this thing on. Just something irritating, and that's how they feel when you make them wear something that they don't like. It's not that they're being rebellious or trying to control the situation, but it's really part of their disorder. So I had to learn that. I had to learn to pick my battles. And as he, like I said, grew through his occupational therapy, he was able to start tolerating better clothing. And so today you'll probably see him in a pair of jeans every once in a while and a nice button up. That's as close as we're going to get. He did wear a nice little pantsuit for some weddings that we had to attend. But best believe you, he's got a pair of change of clothes to make sure he is comfortable after the situation. He will be present, but he is definitely going to go back to who and what he is comfortable in. So that's one thing I can appreciate about him. He definitely tries. He definitely tries to go out the box of his normal environment. But I also had to learn from preventing the mental breakdowns, going to spontaneous places or not telling him where we were going. He's such a visual kid. Some children with autism are visuals, children that they learn through whether it's movies or videos, pictures, whatever the case may be. That was one thing we started with his daily routine, to kind of help him understand, okay, this is what you do today. You get up, you brush your teeth, you put your clothes on, just all those things were in a picture format, and he was able to, use it as a task because he's a child of routine. If you break routine, that was another place where we would see a behavioral, as they would call it, or a breakdown. So I learned to be able to prepare him and to prepare me, so that I'm not the center of attention along with him. I can definitely tell you this journey has helped me become more compassionate towards parents who have any child with disability. It's not easy. Like I said, it's very frustrating sometimes, especially when you don't get answers from the doctors, or you're trying to figure out your child, because we just want the best for our child, right? We just want, like I said, sometimes to just fix it and hopefully it will go away. But when there is something here and long term, that's a hard pill to swallow. I also remember in my early stages, like I said, as we kept going through the journey of testing, I began to think, what did I do wrong as a mom? Did I do something wrong when I was pregnant? Have I done anything wrong as a mom now? Like, how did I not see this? Because they can't really define where it comes from. I tried several times to get answers, not only through obviously testing, but we did genetic testing. His father and I took our own genetic and DNA to test to see if any of us were the carriers to his condition. And no, we were not. And there was nothing wrong with his DNA or chromosomes that were defective or anything that would have caused him to have this. And so, once again, we're at a blank state. And I even state this in my healing book. That in the midst of me doing that testing with his chromosomes and our DNA, the Lord told me that that I would not be able to find the answer. They wouldn't have an answer for why my son has what he has. And I say that to say that, there are just some things that the Lord graces us through. And in due time, he will heal, he will deliver. And he also has done so already thus far. He has shown great improvement. Now, can I say my son's completely healed? Not yet, no. But if that's the Lord's will, then it shall be so. Trust me, my faith has not dimmered or left, but it has helped me to understand true faith and to understand God's will, right? So going back to our journey, like I said, we learned to pick our battles. I prepared him with pictures as we would go to certain places. That helped him out a whole lot. Another thing that the book mentions is that they can only handle social places for so long. You know, we can spend a whole day out at the mall shopping, doing whatever, right? And my son is not that one. He will let me know in a minute, hey, mom, I'm ready to go. You know, especially when it comes to church, he is like, okay, we're here. We did our service thing. It's time to go. There's no time for socializing of any sorts. And so I have to respect, and it also tells you in the book to respect your child's wishes when they have hit that wall, when they've hit that capacity. And it does grow. You know, we've gone from, you know, being able to just go in and out of certain places to being able to stay and hang out for a little while. I was very proud of him this weekend. We went to our church in the park and he hung in there pretty much the whole day. So, like I said, there is growth to it in the social environment for them, but it just takes time. So, you know, just be patient with your child. Um, Unfortunately, you do have to learn to um, balance life a little bit differently, um, so that they can feel comfortable, so that they can feel um, themselves, but also still get that environment of socialism as much as they can handle. So that has been one thing that we have conquered. Another thing, as he was going through occupational therapy as well, is that they saw that he was a toe walker. So a child who walks on their toes. That was another sign that they said that showed that he had autism. And obviously, months later, they finally did diagnose him with that. And that, once again, we were already on the journey of being able to cope with it. Knowing that, like I said, we uh, had to fix his toe walking, because it would eventually ruin his Achilles and his tendons, and it would just be worse if we waited longer to fix his toe walking. So that was a journey. So what they do is they put your child in a foot cast. And they wear a cast on both feet, excuse me. um, and and that weight of the cast helps them to walk um, on the ground a little bit more solid. So we would go back every 2 weeks, I believe, and he would get a new casting done, because the angle of his foot was no longer, you know, high, but it was beginning to become flat-footed. So the day that he was able to completely have those off, because that was also, he cried about that. And they're very smart children. They know what's going on. He told me, he's like, Mom, I'm afraid everybody's gonna make fun of me basically in these casts. And I felt so bad for him. I just wanted to take it all for him, but my son has been an amazing trooper through it all. Um, and like I said, even though he had some breakdowns, he made it through the toe walking, and he's walking amazing, flat footed, and no issues there. Um, I'm trying to think if there was anything else really that stood out in our journey. Um, oh, thanks, Auntie Chris. He is the best. Um, Honestly, there really isn't. I can just say that, oh, there was one other thing, was that because they may have troubles with their attention span. Um, ADHD sometimes is another thing that they say that they have to work on, and they try to do that with medication. Um, we tried several medications. We tried one called Focalin, I believe is what it was called, and it was okay, but it lost his ability to like have feeling. Like he was just like kind of zoned out. And I'm seeing my child happy and kind and loving, and I did not want that for him in with medication. So I try to ask, like, is there something lower? Is there something, because he really, like I said, wasn't really high functioning. It was just his teachers were having issues with him focusing, and I wanted him to learn at his best. um, we tried a couple more. One, he had a really bad behavior at school, and I said, absolutely not. After that, we are not going back to medication ever again. And we haven't. I just began to look up some natural ways. Sometimes you just have to change your child's diet and help them to be able to cope with some things naturally. And he learned to do so. He learned very quickly, very easily. We even did some fidgets. So that way he had something tangible to kind of put that energy into, so that he could focus. There is a lot of times, there was a lot of times, not as much anymore, but he'll have like his TV going, he would have video games on, he had a little cell phone, so he would had watched YouTube. I mean, like, there's just something constantly like just going crazy. Um, and I was like, dude, you gotta cut something off. And like I said, once we started changing his diet and helping him to focus a little bit better, he can kind of concentrate a little bit more on just one individual thing. So that has been good for him. Definitely putting him into sports because they are still able to be a part of society. They're still able to function with other people, as long as they're, not I would say out of control, or you can't handle their behaviors. But my son does very well. Everybody has been amazing, embracing him. He had an amazing basketball season. I'm excited for him to even be a part of the high school team, hopefully next year. So, and it's crazy. My son will be in high school next year. So we've been on this journey for a good minute. And like I said, he has done nothing but thrive. And that's why I wanted to share this story tonight, because it is, like I said, not an easy thing to come to copes with your child, but it is possible. You can do it. um, and there are definitely so many different people that can relate and support you. I'm grateful for my village, my family, my friend family. And even some of the social groups that the kids go to, you get to meet other parents, and we get to talk and we get to exchange our stories, and it's good to be around people who can understand, so that when your child does have a behavior, the person's not walking away or never calls you again. But they kind of understand, your struggle, your situation. So I just hope that you all can definitely even educate yourself, even if you don't have a child who is autistic. Um, I'm sure you will meet a child. Like I said, one of the facts I found is that 1 out of 68 children in the US have this. So that is definitely pretty high. Um, to hear, and it's, like I said, more common in boys than it is girls. Like I said, they kind of pick that up by their behavior. So it's good to just, like I said, educate yourself, to be able to also understand for the sake of an adult. Try to now this is my kind heart, but try to be there for that parent, that person, encourage them, you know, um, let them know that they're doing an amazing job, because it's not easy. There have been plenty of times I have seen parents like that in the store, or that have may be struggling. I will see them later and just give them a hug. Just let them know, hey, it's okay. I understand. It's just the love of God in me. Anyway, but and if that's not your personality, if that's not who you are, just say a prayer. Pray for those out there who are dealing with it. Like I said, my faith has never dwindled, never given up. I just came to understand that this is just my son's journey in life, and I get to be a part of it. Does God love him any less? No. Did it, me or his father sin? No. Um, all the church things that try to come to you or come to mind. Um, they're false. Let me just say that. Um, it's just God's will, and this is just part of it. And like I said, I believe there will be a day and time where He'll be able to testify and talk about His journey, as I am, from a point of view of a parent, so that you know it's some things just take time. The Lord knows what He's doing. It's in His hands. It's His will, and we're just gonna let His will be done. So yeah, I think that concludes my story. I know I kind of just was everywhere, but if you have any questions, even if you're looking for a parent, to connect with, support, hit me up, here on Tea Times. Social media platforms, or you can also email me personally as well, and I will be glad to definitely be one of your parents who would love to support you in your journey, as you are learning your child through this so-called journey of autism spectrum disorder. So, once again, that concludes my story tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. Share it with somebody that you know that would be inspired by this story as well. Our next tea time is scheduled for the 19th of June. I am excited. I will have a guest on with me who will be sharing her story. Her name is Miss Athena Curtis. She will be sharing her story of her journey of healing. If you have not yet followed her, begin to follow her and see all her amazing journal healing posts that she's had and what God has done for her life. It's been amazing. So I'm excited to have her next time on Tea Time. Once again, we meet every first and third Monday of the month at 7:30 right here on Facebook or YouTube live. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for hearing my story tonight and supporting me through it. And we will see you next time here on Tea Time with Liz. All right. Have a good night, everyone.